Hi everybody, Craig Gabriel here for USTA.com and QuickStart Tennis, and with me today, Martina Navratilova. Martina, thanks for your time. This is a great concept, the QuickStart Tennis format.
Well, they've had it in Europe, but Justine Enan and Kim Clijsters both came through this kind of a program, and we know what kind of results they're having, so we know it works. And the USTA has been trying to get kids into the game for a long time, but you know, kids are not successful when they play on the real court with big rackets when they're little. So this QuickStart Tennis will, I think, enable to kids to give kids the opportunity to be successful from the get-go, and hopefully will keep them in the game.
So it really does make sense, doesn't it? You start small with little ones.
Well, you know, Mary Jo and I played with the oversized rackets today on an oversized court, basically what it looks like to small kids. So we played with this big racket. I couldn't hold the racket with one hand, barely could hit a forehand. Two-handed backhand was okay. The net was so high, it was so far away, it was a joke. And the technique goes out the window because you're just trying to hoist this big thing and make sure that the ball can go over the net. So it makes sense on so many levels, and I think it'll be great because kids will be successful when they first are introduced to the game, and then they'll stay with it. And you know, tennis is a sport of a lifetime, but when you start when you're 6, 7 years old, you can't do it with normal size equipment. You just can't do it.
Yeah, you touched on what I was going to say to you. Do you think this sort of a format will keep kids in the game?
Well, we have to keep in mind that there are so many other sports and so many other distractions for kids to have. So, you know, you don't get as many kids to try the game in the first place. But then because they're not successful, they're not going to stay with it. You only want to do what you can do well. And with a normal size racket, normal size ball, normal size court, for a little kid, it's impossible. So I think QuickStart Tennis will really make the kids successful at the beginning. They'll play right away. They have a good time, and they will learn to play the game because they're playing, not because they're taking lessons.
Martina, do you think something like the QuickStart Tennis format will possibly develop more players for America to go through the top levels in the future?
We absolutely will have more kids. This will develop a champion, and one day we will have a champion coming from this program. There's no question in my mind, because we'll have a lot more kids coming into the game, and we'll have a lot more kids staying with it, learning the proper technique from the beginning. And I think we'll see more one-handed backhands as well, because you can actually hold the racket with one hand. So you'll see more variety. Kids will understand how the game should be played using the whole court. So it's all good. Yeah, one day we will definitely see a champion coming from this program.
And you love that one-handed backhand.
Well, it's just nice to see more variety.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, I started with a two-handed backhand. I switched to one-handed when I was 9 years old. And it was difficult then, because, I mean, there was a slightly smaller racket, but still it was way too big for one hand. So the one-handed wasn't so good. Now I think you will see a lot more variety, better technique, and better tennis players.
Yeah, I mean, when you were starting, I mean, you know, your history, but when you were starting, do you think you would have liked to have started with something like the QuickStart Tennis format?
Well, it would have made it more fun, and I mean, I was by myself playing against the wall for 2 years before I played on a real court when I was 7, so it would have I would have felt more like an adult, you know, like I'm doing what the adults doing, just in a smaller size. Yeah, I stayed with the game because I loved it, and there wasn't that much else to do. But nowadays, again, kids have too many other distractions, so it's really important to keep them in the game.
What do you think the importance is of making people realize that tennis is not really just an individual sport, but it is, in fact, like a team sport?
Well, I think the USTA will put in a lot of team tennis style formats for the kids, because kids love to be on a team. They like to hang out with their friends, and most of the big sports are team sports. So this will be, again, help you develop relationships, work together as a team, be less selfish, try to figure out how to help your team win rather than it's all about me. So it's all good. It teaches you great life skills on so many levels, and it is a sport for a lifetime, and it's a very healthy way of spending your time.
On that note, Martina Navratilova, thanks so much for your time at QuickStart Tennis.
All right, thank you.